Like you just don't know how awesome. You know, my name is Stuart Pritchett, and I'm the fairly new student pastor here at Chapin Baptist Church, and I believe that God sent me here for this season. I believe He sent me here for such a time as this. And I believe He sent me here because of who I am, what He wants to do in me, and where I've been, what He has done in me. So, I want to tell you my story. You know, I remember from an early childhood swaying in the trees. How many of you climbed trees as kids? And I lived in the trees. I remember being in the treetops of South Florida and listening to my transistor radio. And I think this day it was Someone Saved My Life Tonight by Elton John. You remember that old track? But one of these treetop memories sounds out louder than all the rest because it was the summer of 1977. Almost 32 years ago. August the 16th to be exact. And I was in the highest limbs of an oak tree and I could hide from my sister there. And I was listening to Someone Saved My Life Tonight, I'm pretty sure, by Elton John. And the DJ broke into the music with an announcement. Elvis Presley was found dead in Graceland, his Memphis home, at the age of 42. Now, y'all, like many of you, when you saw that wreck with Dale Earnhardt, the Daytona 500, Dale was a member of your family. Okay, look, Elvis was a member of my family. My parents grew up in the 50s. They loved Elvis to death. And when Elvis died, it was like we lost a member of our family. So I tore out of that oak tree far too fast to be safe, crying, blubbering, and speeding towards the back door of the house. And y'all, I was so distraught that I forgot to even check if the doors were open or closed. Yes, I did. So, without breaking stride, I plowed right through the sliding door without realizing it was closed, screaming and blubbering, Mama, Elvis is dead. Y'all, it was sad, I'm telling you. Now, what this little memory will hopefully illustrate for you is, because y'all, I was 8 at the time. I was 8 years old at that time. And I want you to understand and hopefully plainly see that my story, the story that I'm here to tell you, in many ways begins and ends with music. It's a big part of who I am and where I'm from. So we'll start somewhere towards the middle, and then we'll work our way back in both directions. Something you need to know about me, Jacob knows this, and he kind of snickers, but I always wanted to be a drummer. I wanted to be a drummer. It was my dream. I always begin, even to this day, appraising any piece of music by the beat. How many of you do that? If the beat ain't good, I don't care. It ain't a good song. You start with the beat and you work out from there. And that's how I still to this day appraise every piece of music. So when I was in the 5th grade, about the age, a little bit younger than some of you, I went to my mom and dad and I said, Mom and Dad, I want a drum kit. Guess what they did? They bought me a compound trumpet. Huh? Story of my life. Story of my life, man. Several years later, after practicing on a borrowed kit, I went out for an audition for a band. Well, it didn't take long for me to realize that there was a kid there that was a way better drummer than me. Man, he had his own kit. Wasn't my fault. But there was no singer. There was still hope. So halfway through that audition, they realized, man, we don't have a vocalist. And my mother had made me sing in church from the youngest age. I remember being 5 and singing away in a manger, her making me do it. So they said, Stuart, you know, we don't have a singer. You can't play the drums as good as him, but you're here. You want to take a shot? So I said, well, yeah. So the guitar player started playing this lick. Well, let me show it to you. I think you'll recognize this. If you do, feel free to sing along with me. He started playing this.
Here's a lady who's sure all that glitters is gold, and she's buying a stairway to heaven.
Needless to say, my life changed that day. The guys were blown away and surprised, but not nearly as blown away or surprised as I was. You go to an audition hoping to be a drummer, and you leave a singer. But y'all, I was a singer in a rock and roll band. Yeah, it's a big day for me. Now, how many of you know that song, Stairway? How many of you would just find yourself singing? Yeah, everybody knows it. Have you thought about the concept? How many of you would say that there is a song that just speaks to you? in your life. It just speaks for you. It speaks to you. There's just this song that says what you want to say. There's this song that says what you need to hear. There's just this song that you attach your life to. How many of you would say there's those songs like that in your life? Well, for me, there are many of both. There are many songs that say what I need to hear or say it better than I can say it. Because I said it, my life kind of begins and ends with music. It's like there's this soundtrack to my life. So what we're going to do over the next couple of weeks is we're going to visit that soundtrack. I want to tell you my story through a few of these songs. And I hope that we'll link a little bit. You'll get to know me a little bit better. Because I want you to understand something. I've learned a lot about Jesus through the devil's music. I really have. I've learned a whole lot about Jesus through the devil's music. Or what many people describe as the devil's music is still true today. So today we're going to start with that infamous Led Zeppelin song that we've already mentioned. Because, over the years I've thought a lot about that song, Stairway to Heaven, and I've realized that in some ways it is the first track of my life in song. It's like my first song, my soundtrack of my life. So we begin just that. Have your Bibles with you. I want you to turn to Genesis chapter 28, and we're going to begin in verse 10. Genesis 28, 10. It says this: Jacob left Beersheba and went toward Haran. He reached a certain place and spent the night there because the sun had set. He took one of the stones from the place, put it there at his head, and lay down in that place. As he dreamed, a stairway was set on the ground with its top reaching heaven, and God's angels were going up and down on it. And the Lord was standing there beside him, saying, I am the Lord, the God of your father Abraham and the God of Isaac. I will give you and your offspring the land that you are now sleeping on. Your offspring will be like the dust of the earth, and you will spread out towards the west, the east, the north, and the south. All the peoples on earth will be blessed through you and your offspring. Look, I am with you and will watch over you wherever you go. I will bring you back to this land, for I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised to you. And when Jacob awoke from sleep, he said, Surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it. He was afraid and said, What an awesome place this is. This is none other than the house of God. This is the gate of heaven. Now Jacob, the Hebrew